Good timing. Good timing. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order with an invocation by Pastor Sean Johnson.
Please join me a moment of prayer. Good evening, God. I give you thanks for this day that you have created and blessed us with. I ask your blessing be upon this meeting. May you grant these elected leaders and civil officials with the wisdom and compassion they need to lead effectively. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Sean. We can go ahead and start with the roll call.
Mayor Jeff Phillips.
Here.
Clerk Treasurer Shelby Keys. Here. Council members Russ Overton.
Here.
Kevin Arnold.
Here.
Noelle Weishaar. Here. Jeff Rayburn.
Here.
And Ernest Watson Jr. Absent. City Attorney Todd Sammons.
Here.
Cemetery Caretaker Joe Ettinger. Absent. Fire Chief Kenny Hahn.
Here.
Police Chief Matt Anderson.
Here.
Utility Office Manager Heather Smart. Here. Electric Operations Manager Heath Malone.
Here.
Park Superintendent Heather Hall. Here. Street, Water, Sewer, Sanitation Superintendent Bryce Black.
Here.
Gas Superintendent Todd Wilson.
Here.
And Assistant Superintendent Josh Eldridge.
Here. All right. Council, you were afforded minutes of the last meeting. How would you like to act on those?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as received.
Second. It's been a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you, Council. This is the time reserved for the public to come up and make any comments. If they would like to address the council, now would be the time to do so. Hearing none, we'll get into the agenda, and first is our water rate study by Baker Tilly, and Nicole's here with us.
Kind of banking off of the mayor's comments of technology is amazing. I have Tyler Koffel via technology here to present the water rate study for you guys. The TV's turned off. Is there a way to turn it back on?
Should be coming on. We can plug that in. Hopefully. Yeah.
Tyler wishes he could be here in person, but he did celebrate a little bit too hard at his football game on Friday and tore his calf muscle. So he's at home, but he will be presenting for us.
All right.
Hey Tyler, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have to adjust the audio. Okay. Say something.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Alrighty, so my name is Tyler Koffel. I work with Eric Walsh pretty consistently. I'm on the utility team at Baker Tilly. Sorry I can't be there tonight. I coached football at Raven and I tore my calf on Friday night. So I was planning on attending, but since virtual is an option, I figured I'd do it virtually. So I'm going to go through the rate study with you guys here quickly and leave time for any questions. So I'll start on page 2 on the minimum balance schedule. So what this page is looking at is your fund balances as of the end of last year compared to your required and recommended reserves for your bond ordinance. So the far left column at the top shows the bank balances as of the end of 2024. The middle column shows your reserve requirements, and the far right side shows your variance. So the bond ordinance requires that you have three different funds have requirements that you have to hold at all times. The first one is your operation and maintenance fund, which you have to times. So you'll see in number 1, the 2025 operation and maintenance budget at $1.6 million. 2 months of that is about $271,000. So if you look back at the top, you'll see that that fund is above what is required by $319,000. The second account is your bond interest account. This is an account that the clerk's office submits or transfers money to on a monthly basis to make your semi-annual bond payments. And you'll see again that that account is above your reserve requirements. And the last one is your debt service reserve account, which has to be funded to the maximum annual debt service as a safeguard in case the city can't ever make a bond payment. Those funds can be taken from and used to pay the bonds. So again, you'll see that account is overfunded by $41,000. And we oftentimes see that just accruing interest income over time and just builds that balance up. So those are the 3 that are required. So those 3 are all 3 well above the required amounts. The next one is your improvement or depreciation fund. This one is is recommended to be at least 1 year of average annual capital spending. And you'll see there that you have $994,000 in that fund. Your average annual capital spending per the capital improvement plan on page 3 is $158,000, showing an excess funding of about $836,000. So in summary, the water utility is in very good financial shape. You've got operating funds that are well above the requirement. You've also got a good amount of money sitting in your improvement fund to pay for capital, and you could also move that back to the operating fund if needed, if that fund started to get drained. Any questions there?
No.
All right. Page 3 is your capital plan. This page looks a little bit different than it did when we did the financial management report earlier this year. This is the slimmed down version of the capital plan to kind of reduce the amount of rate increase that may be needed for current operations and for this project. The financial management report capital plan was at about $381,000. That was trimmed down pretty substantially to the needs of the utility, down to $158,000 a year. So you'll see that number in the bottom right. That's just the cash funded capital that the utility has to pay using operating receipts every year. The one thing I will note on this is a lot of the times when capital plans are reduced significantly from what was originally given is those projects that were taken off sometimes come back and they turn into needs. So that would be one thing to monitor going forward, is just making sure that none of those projects that were taken off pop up and cause overspending in the next 4 or 5 years. The projects that are highlighted are all bond projects. So the purple line of $604,000 is the remaining proceeds from your 2023 bonds. The blue line is this lead service line project, and it does say $2.5 million. That should be $2 million total. And that's the $2 million total is what's reflected on the revenue requirement schedule that we'll get to here soon. And then that yellow section at the bottom, that is a proposed future project. A lot of projects that came from the asset management plan that was prepared by the engineers, and then the financial piece by us. Those projects, after talking with Bryce and the mayor, are coming at some point. The timing on them is kind of unknown at this point, and the magnitude of the project is also unknown. So those figures are being excluded from this calculation, and they'll be revisited in a future rate study. Any questions there?
No.
Okay. So page 4, this is our revenue requirement schedule. We're calculating what the rate increases needed are. I'm going to focus on the current operations column first. So what the current operations is looking at is really just your operating budget, your outstanding bonds, and your current debts or your current capital plan. So the one thing I will note in your operating disbursements, that $1,779,000, that is a $330,000 increase from the last time that we did a rate study. There's several contributing factors. Personnel costs have gone up by $72,000. chemicals have gone up by $70,000, and there were a couple other line items that just went up due to inflationary increases. So personnel and chemicals are really the big drivers of those, the increase in operating costs. The other thing I will note under the operation and maintenance line is that assumes the 2028 budget. So that is looking out 3 years, and we have to do that because SRF, if you issue bonds through SRF, they're required to show bond coverage through the end 1 year past construction completion. So if we're saying that construction completion for the lead service line would be completed in 2027, we would have to show 130% coverage in 2028. So that's why we have to show operating disbursements 2 or 3 years beyond what we're currently looking at.
Thank you.
The next line, payment in lieu of taxes, is just $65,000. That's what the utility is currently paying. Your current debt service payments are about $669,000 a year. Your funding, your debt service reserve of $54,000 a year, that ends in 2 years, I believe. Your bonds were issued in 2023, so 2020, end of 2027, I think it's fully funded. And your capital improvement line is $158,000, like we just talked about. So after taking out some other operating receipts and interest income, your net annual revenue requirements that have to be funded using user receipts is $2,614,000. Your current annual receipts, you'll see a few lines down, is $2,269,000, leaving a deficit of $345,000 a year. So you'll see that $345,000 deficit, $330,000 of that is made up of the operating budget increase since the last rate study was completed. So in order to collect $345,000 in addition to what you're already collecting, you would need a 15% rate increase and $6.50 on a 4,000 gallon bill, or a 535 cubic foot bill. So then the next two columns, the only difference between these is the bonds. So you'll see the proposed bonds line under the original lead service line project. We're calling it original because this is what the city gave to us originally. It's $1,052,000 in bonds. It's the known lead service line replacements as of when we put the report together. So the average, the debt service payment on those bonds would be $30,000 a year. Your debt service reserve funding would go down to $33,000 a year, so you'll see a little bit of cost savings there. But overall, it's about a $10,000 increase in your annual cost. So you'll see that the additional receipts required line goes from $345 up to $354. So about $10,000 in addition to what you're already paying. So by doing the original lead service line project, you're really not seeing a rate adjustment change between the first two alternatives. And then the far right column is the full lead service line project. This includes $2 million in lead service line bonds. I should have mentioned this before, but the lead service line bonds are at 0% for the SRF program. They're paid off over 35 years. It's a very good deal that the SRF, the state revolving fund, is giving right now. But to do the full project, and we're calling it full because there's potential of additional lead service line replacements being needed. Those haven't been fully identified yet, but this is the kind of the max amount that Mayor and Bryce have kind of laid out that could be out there. Your debt service payment would go up to $57,000 for those bonds. And in total, your additional receipts required would go up by another $25,000. So really, what's driving the rate increase is the current operations, the operating budget. The bonds have an additional 1 to 2% of an increase, but the bonds really have a minimal effect on what rate increase is needed. Any questions on that? Okay. Then the last page is just a rate comparison page, kind of just showing where your rates are compared to the state averages and other Indiana communities or surrounding communities. So the statewide average is $40.85 for your population range. The full statewide average is actually $42.42. So you're about 30 cents over the statewide average right now. This is not uncommon for the places that we work with consistently, the ones that are kind of staying ahead on projects. We've pretty consistently seen those utilities coming in above or starting above that statewide average because you are being proactive with your projects. But your current 4,000 gallon or 535 cubic foot bill is $42.71. Any of those three alternatives that we talked about would send your water bill to about $49. I do want to kind of relate back to the health of the water utility. So considering that you guys have excess cash balances in your water fund right now, you do have time to phase these rate increases in, regardless of what alternative you move forward with. We have to run out the full cash flows to know how long you could phase those in over, but you could at least phase them in over a 2-year period. So maybe doing one in 26 and one in 27. It wouldn't be a situation where you need to do a full 15 or 16% rate increase right away.
So you think it would be over 3 years then?
I think you could do it over 2 or 3 years, yeah. The one thing that I fear is that the other project is out there looming. Okay. So if we do it for 3 years, you may end up running into that project and have to stack another rate increase on top of it. That would be my fear of stretching it out too long.
Okay.
The other consideration here is the sewer rate increases that went into effect recently. You could look at doing the increases to be effective mid-year of each year so that you're not going effective in January with both. That could kind of stagger the increases a little bit. I don't know how simple that is for the billing team, but that would be an option to kind of minimize the rate shock. I'll leave it up to you guys, but it is an option.
We talked about that, but it'd be easier for Heather's department, I believe, did it on the 1st of January.
The system is capable of doing it whenever you choose for it to be done, but it's very difficult in calculating budgets for our customers and trying to take the rate changes into effect. I also don't know how it would affect our commercial customers that are putting budgets and stuff together to have all the rate changes happening at all the different times, but I'll certainly do whatever it is that is required of our office. So.
Well, we know we talked about it at the beginning of the year when we had our study done, that the water utility was one of them that did need some attention. We have moved things around, I think, as well as we could to keep the water going at the rate where we're at. But now, if we're going to look at bonding to fix the lead lines, this would probably be an ideal time for us also to increase that rate so that we're able to have the operating cushion in there along with it. If we break it down, I think it's $7 or so. If we break it down in 2 years, it's $3.50 each year. Hopefully that'd be something that our customers would understand and like get their lead lines replaced. I hear more about a concern about the lead line replacement than I do about the cost of our rates. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And I'll leave it up to the council on which direction you want to go. Good question, Tyler. Do we need to make a motion on this tonight? I guess we do, don't we, Nicole?
The contract, preferably, to make a motion on the contract, but you don't have to make any rate decisions tonight.
I would make the motion then to go ahead with alternative 3. Just get it all done at once.
And then as part of the motion, I would probably need council's permission to sign for the city of Rensselaer on the contract with Baker Tilly to start the process.
And the motion.
Okay. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Are you guys wanting to move forward with the rate increase effective January 1, or is that something that you want to, I mean, closing on these bonds won't take place until March or April, but if you want to start with a clean cut to start 1/1/26, we can set that up too.
I would think so. Beginning of the year, that way budgets aren't messed up, and then you could do it over the 2-year period, Tyler. I think that would be the easiest for our ratepayers.
Okay.
Well, I think we're better off being out in front of it than trying to play catch up.
Are you looking at 2 years? Or you're saying?
No, I think we need to
Over.
Spread it over the
spread it over
2
2
years.
years. Yeah, as soon as we can implement it, we should.
Okay.
I'll second Jeff's motion.
All right. We have a motion, a second to move forward with.
3.
All right. Say it again, Jeff.
Alternative 3.
Alternative 3 for the increase in water. And then allow me to sign the contract with Baker Tilly to move forward on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Tyler, we're ready to go forward.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the work you've done on this.
Just going to start January 1st then?
Yeah, we can set up to have that start date. Thanks, Tyler.
Yep, thank you.
Any questions in the meantime? I'm sure multiple people have my contact and Tyler's contact, so we're happy to answer anything that comes up.
All right. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is to ratify a poll for the claims from 2 meetings ago. There was really just 3 of you here that if we want to do a roll call on the poll, and we'll go from there.
Noelle Weishaar,
Yes.
Russ Overton,
Yes.
Kevin Arnold,
Yes.
and Jeff Rager.
Yes.
Sure, he abstained from it, but that was your.
I agree with you.
All right. Thank you, council. Next on our agenda is salary recommendations. Noelle.
Okay. Council was sent salary recommendations in August. And to summarize what we're going to go ahead and put forward, we will have a salary ordinance presented, I believe, next month in October at the next meeting. Where we'll be voting on that. But what we're looking at is giving a 2% raise across the board for all employees.
Is that full-time and part-time?
Yes. And then along with that, increasing the on-call stipend. We're giving a slight increase of that, a $6 increase on the stipends. Also on the HSA contributions, we are looking at doing the same contribution this year as last year, which I believe was $2,000. And for employees that are over 5 years, that contribution will be made at the beginning of the year in one lump sum. And then employees from 1 to 5 years, it will be paid out quarterly. Also, there were a few department requests. I'm looking at adding some new positions in the clerk treasurer's office, an HR payroll position, staff accountant position, then the gas department, gas lead foreman position, the street department, water, sewage, sanitation, a laborer level 2, new position, and then also a fire department. I think we already do this, but we wanted it in writing that the firemen are paid additional $15 per hour for every hour after the first hour per call. In the parks department, we are looking at adding in the administrative assistant position, remove the pool director and add a head lifeguard position, remove the travel swim coach and assistant swim coach, And in lieu of that, make a contribution to the summer swim program for those positions. Remove the Roth Field Director and the Blacker Field Director and baseball, softball coordinator positions, removing those three but adding in two new positions, which would be the Youth Field Director and the Adult Field Director position. So those were the recommended changes for this coming year. And I don't
No action is needed,
action
so we'll
tonight.
bring
I
it,
will
yeah.
put it in an ordinance for the next meeting.
All right. Thank you, Noelle.
Will you send me that?
We'll be right on
But
that.
I got it.
All right. Next on the agenda is the connection requirement letters. I know we talked with the council briefly about it. You got copies of them. And we want to try to get these out to people who are looking to hook up for water and sewer out along 65. The construction has generated some interest out there. And we were able to put it in the connection letters, and if you're a resident, we're willing to waive the tap fees for water and sewer, but commercial-wise, because it's so unknown what that tap fee is, it's hard for us to waive that fee. And that's about the only changes I see in there. You guys have any questions about the connection letter?
For the residents, is that for any residents or if it's someone's primary residence? Does that make sense?
It does. Actually, that's a good question. Don't know if it actually says in the letter if it's primary or not.
I think it just says residence,
It is
residential customers or something.
No, I don't know that makes any.
We might have to define that at some point, given some of the businesses out there.
When we did the unsewered areas project, it was just any residents, and there was some rental properties out there.
All right.
They never did hook in, but there's a couple rentals out there that were included in that letter or in that scope.
That's still within 180 days of when we start to or finish the project, or?
From project's completion, yes.
Okay.
There'll be another letter to follow.
Okay. So we'll have time to do that then too.
Yeah.
I suppose we need a motion on this though, Bryce, to move forward?
Yeah, that way we can get them mailed and printed and get them out.
I'll make
Right.
a motion to approve those letters. Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the connection requirement letters. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? All right. And are we hand delivering these?
For the businesses, yes, for the sake of just trying to catch those residents who are just gonna mail.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next is acceptance of the housing plan. I'd like to go ahead and table this tonight. We'll put it in a resolution form and then have it as adapted as part of our overall comprehensive plan at our next meeting, if that's all right with council. All right. Next is Ordinance 18-2025, electric manual meter reading rates. Heath.
Thank you, Mayor. Throughout the AMI project, we have ran into a couple people that are concerned with the advanced meters and the radio frequency they put up. So we had to buckle down and come up with an ordinance giving them an option to have an old manual meter. So we looked around to areas surrounding us, their rates and things like that, and we've come up with a residential rate and a commercial rate. Feel like it's fair. The residential rate's about the same as what we were seeing in the areas around us. The commercial rate was hard to come by. We really didn't see that. But if you don't allow us to put in an advanced meter, it affects other things. It's not good for TUNET. We can't see the water as well because everything, the water meters and in the future the gas meters actually come through the electric meters. So we think this is a fair rate to go with. It's negative to the system to not allow us to put one in there. But if it's what makes people happy, we can move forward with it. If they want to get an old manual meter, they have to sign an agreement and pay for the meters since we won't be carrying them. Right now, the meters will be about $73, so they have to pay for that as well.
This rate covers all the city's additional costs?
Yes.
For reading those meters?
Yes.
just doing a first reading.
Just doing the first reading tonight, so I guess we're good to move on if your council's ready. All right, thank you. Ordinance next is 19-2025, fees for copying records and documents. Shelby.
I'll just speak a little bit and then hand it over to Chief Anderson. This is an ordinance that has not been updated since 2010. So I went ahead and, for sake of, if people come into the office and ask for copies of public records, which we haven't had yet, but it was 10 cents for a black and white copy and 25 cents for a color copy. So I increased the black and white copy to 50 cents and the color copy to 75 cents. That covers ink and paper and whatnot. And then Chief Anderson made a few changes as well.
The changes I proposed were to the people asking for copies of reports. It's been $2 for as long as I can remember. And there's some work that goes into that as well. Dispatch has to hunt for it, print it off, redact personal information, juvenile names, so there's some redaction that goes into that. I'm proposing that gets raised to $5, which is pretty consistent with what we're seeing in other agencies. The body camera video, our new system that we're getting, we paid $43,000 for that. Part of that cost is the software to redact that we had to pay for. Currently, we're charging $10. State law allows us to charge up to $150 per video, and I called to Crown Point and Valpo, and that's what they are currently charging for their body cam, dash cam video is $150. So that's what I'm proposing that we raise that to as well.
Anything else on there?
No.
You're keeping the same level for cassette tapes?
If we ever charge,
that was not my ask that question.
If
One of the council members asked that.
I don't even remember seeing cassette tapes. So.
Well, you weren't chief as long as some of us were. Anything else, Chief?
I don't believe so. I can entertain questions. I mean, the redaction and the time that's put in and the cost for the software is the big part of the cost for the body cams. And we don't get requests for that very often. And when we do, I don't even know why the people or how they. I've got one that's requested from Pennsylvania. I've had them in the past from Florida. So how they even become aware of the cases and want the body cam, I don't know. So.
Are we in a hurry to pass this tonight, or can we just have this as the first reading and then bring it back to the next council meeting?
That's completely up to you guys. I'd like to pass it as soon as possible. But.
Is this a new ordinance or a?
No, it's repeals and replaces. The bulk of it's the same. I think he just added the police and dash cam videos, and then
Yes.
I updated.
So does that require 2 readings?
Unless you suspend the rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's completely up to council. I mean, it's another 2 weeks isn't going to hurt anything, but.
All right. We'll count this as the first reading then, and we'll bring it back to the next meeting for finish.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Next is ordinance number 20-2025, our employee handbook. I know we've gone over between Shelby and I's office quite a bit. I know council, we had a special session to go over it. I think we're ready to pass the new employee handbook and get it out for our employees to review. I would ask, though, that we go ahead and suspend the rules and make the employee handbook active today. I think that's the date that we put on the handbook when we were putting it out. So that's the only reason why I would ask to suspend the rules and approve it tonight.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to suspend the rules on ordinance number 20-2025. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the handbook?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the employee handbook, ordinance number 20-2025. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Mayor, if I may make a
Yes.
quick statement on this.
Yeah.
There are some things, as you all are aware from our previous discussions, that I don't necessarily like or agree with that are in the handbook. And I know it's going to be reviewed again in the future, and I'll probably bring those things up again. However, this is a vast improvement over the previous version, so it's a step in the right direction. So thanks, everyone, for your work on it.
My office will get with the superintendent probably tomorrow, so give you all copies so that you can have all your employees sign off on it.
All right. Thank you, council. Next is resolution 28-2025, transfer of funds.
One request for transfer of funds within the general fund for $14,700.
Make a motion to approve resolution 28-2025.
Second.
There's been a motion, a second, to approve resolution 28-2025, the transfer of funds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Next on our agenda is the burial rights request.
We had 2 separate requests for burial rights for a total of 6 spaces in the 2002 edition of the Weston Cemetery.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, a second, to approve burial rights request. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Last is request permission for the council to sign the credit card statement.
Make a motion to allow the mayor to sign the
Second.
And a motion, a second, to allow me to sign the credit card statement as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Next would be our claims approval.
make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
And a motion, a second, to approve the claims. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, council. I don't know of any unfinished business or committee reports, and I have no administrative comments.
I do. I don't know if anyone else was going to say this, but I just wanted to reiterate the B&B's public hearing that is scheduled for October 2nd at Van Rensselaer Elementary School at 6 p.m. Get the word out there that they're looking to shut down the B&B in town. Get everyone there that can.
October the 2nd.
October 2nd at 6 p.m.
I think there's some confusion on that too, that some are thinking that it's the city that is closing that and it's a state level thing. So we should make that clear.
You want to put something out on our website and Facebook? We don't have anything
I think
to
we
do with it.
share, no, I know, yeah, I think we did share the public hearing, but I think there's some confusion on that we're thinking that it's the city closing it down. So I think it would just clarify that it is a state level. Talk to your representatives.
We can do that. Anything else?
Nope, that's all. Oh, we went live with timekeeping, so here's progress.
Just this week?
Yeah, Sunday it started.
Russ?
Don't have anything, I guess, to say too much. Thank
Yeah.
you for all the comments on the sundown and stuff. We're getting that out of the way Thursday, so yeah, sorry about your daughter too, it's tough. But it's been rough, but we're getting through it. No, thank you. And thank you for everybody's concern.
Kevin?
Yeah, another reason why we miss Bob Shank is every year when he would come to our council meetings, he would remind us of the memories alive in the cemetery. My wife and I went to it Saturday. It's a neat program to go see. So all those, the historical society and the cemetery employees that get the cemetery ready, it's a great little program. So another year went off pretty good.
Nobody got rained on.
Sprinkled a little bit.
All right. Well,
I have nothing to say.
well, thanks for your work on the salary stuff, and again, Shelby's office for work on the handbook. It was a lot of work. We were really behind, and Jessica and yourself did a lot of good work on it, so thank you. We go into superintendent's reports next. Chief Anderson?
I have nothing this evening.
Attorney Salmons?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Heather Smart?
I have nothing this evening, but in the near future we will be presenting USDA-RD semi-annual reports.
Chief Holland?
I have nothing there, thank you.
Oh, this is going nice. Heath?
I have nothing.
Rice?
Thank you, Mayor. As of the end of the day today, the I-65 project, there's a little over 1,400 feet of water main in the ground and a little over 2,000 feet of sewer in the ground. So they're averaging, the water main, they're averaging about 240 feet a day, and the sewer, since it's all fused, they're doing about 1,000 feet a day there. 7th Street, the water main is in. It was pressure tested last week. The treatment plant took the first back tee this morning. Second back tee will be taken tomorrow. All goes well there. We should be ready to start putting services in probably next week sometime. And then we're waiting on the structures for the sewer portion. As soon as those get in, we'll be getting on top of that, getting that knocked out. And then just one point of clarification on the rate increase for this evening. That is to target the services that are within the state roads. We still have full intention of self-performing everything outside of the state roads. Just with the permit obligations, the restoration obligations, we felt was a strong point for us to go after just to get those behind us. And that is omitting the areas that we know that we have problem water main. So leaving those alone, as Tyler had said, in respect to the future projects that are moving out there.
Bryce, those back tests, I'm just curious, are those done locally or do you send it off?
Depends on what day of the week it is. The lab here in town is not open on Thursdays and Fridays, so, if we have an emergency or something like that, there has been times where we have to take it to Monticello. But our routine monitoring and a case like this, it goes out to Ellen on Thursday.
The 7th Street project, then, are those tap fees waived?
I don't know if your redevelopment decide on that, Mayor.
Well, it would probably be the council to make that decision. We haven't really talked about that. The other part on 7th Street is we will have to get with Attorney Salmons and figure out how the council, what they want to do with those two pieces of property. The one's large enough to split also, but I don't know if the council has to do that or it would have to be planning commission probably that does that split. But it'd be nice for us to get that to redevelopment, and that way redevelop can recoup some of those costs that were associated with this project here. So, assuming council wants us to go forward with that, we can move forward with that also. Yeah. There we go. Is there a second?
What is
To put this before redevelopment?
Move to the properties the city owns is in their name. That's on 7th Street. Is it 7th Street? Yeah. And then move it to the redevelopment commission.
Something more in depth for the tap fees.
Yeah, we'll have to study what we'll do there. Yeah. Good idea. I didn't think about that. Is there a second to that motion to move those properties to the redevelopment commission?
That's second.
All right. There's been a motion and a second to allow Attorney Salmons to draft some paperwork that allows the city council to get those properties on those lots to the redevelopment commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any further discussion? All right. Thank you, council. All right. Bryce, anything else?
No, sir.
Josh Eldridge.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have an update on the IDEM recycling grant. We got notification late last week that we've been moved on to the second round, or the second phase, I guess you could call it. And that was for the purchase baler for the recycling center to start processing number 5. We also took possession of the new wastewater truck last Thursday, so hopefully the guys won't be driving around in the Ranger anymore. If they are, let me know. I think that's all I have.
Maybe we can find a buyer for the Ranger.
Yeah.
I did spend some time with Lockmuir last week, starting the Phaser ratings for 2026 CCMG, so that's well underway. We should have that information probably tomorrow. We have a meeting with Lockmuir on Wednesday. We'll get as much information as we can.
And that's a switch we made from first group engineering to block. Just make sure the council's aware. Thank you, Josh, for that. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Heather Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, we have several events coming up this fall. There are about 8 different events, in fact. I'll send you an email with those dates and times. We have everything going from a movie in the park to a pet vaccination clinic to more painting workshops and things like that. So I'll send you that information via email because there's a lot of it. I do want to make the point, though, our golf outing signups are due this Friday. So if you haven't registered your team yet, I encourage you to do so. We're following up with some projects. We are working on the fencing for the pickleball courts at Brookside this week. So hopefully we'll have that installed and have that project checked off our to-do list very soon. You might expect to see the new pad at Halgrave Park poured for our gazebo. You might recall that we talked in the spring, I believe, about giving that park a facelift, making some improvements, and making that park more accessible. So our first step will be to pour a new pad for that gazebo. Along the lines of concrete, you should also expect to see the sidewalk being installed very soon at Milroy Park that will lead to a gazebo there. So that's a quick update for you on some of our projects that we're currently working on. Do you have any questions for me this evening? Thank you.
Todd Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. My voice is going out, so I've got nothing.
Stace, I saved your thunder.
Oktoberfest, Saturday night. We got a tech review meeting, I believe, Wednesday morning, 10 a.m.
And that's this Saturday, right? What time is it?
5 to 11.
Okay. Anything else? I don't know what to tell you about alcohol, tobacco commission. So
It is what it is.
it's an interpretation that they are interesting. Yes. So, all right, Harley, anything for the council?
No.
If not,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
is there a second? There's been a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, council.